I'm Peter Anderson. I'm an associate professor in the School of Communication, and I'm the director of the Telematics Research Lab. A lot of our work focuses on supporting activities that have a mission-critical characteristic to them. And the scope of the work is actually quite significant. It's everything from looking at emergency management and humanitarian activities to extending that into human space exploration. My particular area of interest is in disaster risk reduction, not only for looking at how we use communication during emergencies, but particularly how we can improve our knowledge about hazards, their properties, and how we prepare to reduce the impacts of those hazards occurring. My colleague Dr. Stephen Braham, works with me through a unit called PolyLab, in which we apply a lot of these same concepts in the areas of human space exploration. In fact, a lot of his work is focusing on the design of the next generation communication systems to support human space exploration. And we do actually a lot of the technical work for that project in the high Arctic on a site called Houghton Crater, where we work with NASA, Canadian Space Agency, and scientists in the development of systems. We have very strong interest in providing a new, not only support base for graduate research, but to introduce students to new areas for research. And although I'm in the School of Communication, the nature of what we do is it cuts across a number of different disciplines. So particularly, for example, within FCAT itself, we're now starting to involve graduate students from other programs. We also look at our graduate students as looking at the challenges ahead, whether it's in terms of the larger, longer-term challenges such as impacts of climate change, or looking at better understanding the complexities of our systems in society. In terms of community engagement, we work directly with the emergency management community. In fact, we're seen as a full-fledged partner with them. I work with local authorities, the provincial emergency programs, federal programs, and in fact we've worked with United Nations and others internationally. I've worked on village-based tsunami warning systems in Sri Lanka. I've worked in Australia on disaster management information networks for organizations. Our work is very unique. There aren't many academics who have been able to engage in this field, and as a result, we've been actually very well positioned, not only in Canada but internationally, to take the lead on projects in this area. We're developing new concepts and even technical systems to support organizations, and we also work directly with the emergency management organizations to introduce them to new concepts and technologies. Our years of experience of working with them, even throughout actual events, helps us better understand their concepts of operation and needs, and to work with them to find appropriate matches. We also are very interested in looking at knowledge and technology transfer, not just with responders, but working with those companies or organizations that are developing new techniques and technologies. One reason why I think we need a Center for Critical Networks is because how society is increasingly becoming dependent upon complex network infrastructures. Virtually every service that we've come to depend upon is now underpinned by some type of complex infrastructure. Increasingly, they're becoming integrated together, and we really don't understand very well what are the implications of this, or what are the implications, especially when we have a major failure in some segment of those infrastructures. Looking at just the risk reduction area, I think we have to recognize that governments are not the only people who carry responsibilities for dealing with hazards and their effects. In fact, we're all impacted in society, and increasingly the government's playing less of a role, more of a coordinating role, that most of the services and infrastructure now that we depend upon are actually provided by others, particularly the private sector. And the same thing when it comes to impacts of hazards. The communities themselves do not have all of the resources to support a large-scale emergency. So the public, to a large degree, even are first responders in the initial stages with themselves or their neighbors. And so I look at this field as one that requires partnerships by everyone. And I think that for sponsors, this is a tremendous way to contribute not only to research and teaching, but to give something directly to the community that could have long-lasting benefits.